Today on Q&J, I wear my answering goggles. Do they help? Not really. In fact, they kind of make it harder. Oh well.
Q and J.
Hey everyone, welcome to another Q&J. As always, my name is Jay. It's been a couple weeks, so it's time to get back to my answers. As you can see, I'm in my new old office, the original office. No more mattress behind me. Things are good. So today we'll get to a bunch of questions left by you and comments from the previous one, get to them in a normal fashion, and then we will keep going. So as always. So the first comment is by Isaac Evans. Isaac Evans says, are your airbrushing 101s ever going to be on your free channel? I am subscribed to you on Patreon, but not on the Warp. I have used the free trial on the Warp and it has run out. Unfortunately not. I would like to keep Airbrush 101 and soon Basing 101 in the Warp because it gives value to the Warp. If I made them free, maybe I'll make one or two free view, as I call them now. There's a couple free ones. But no, the majority of them will end up still being in the Warp. But just my miniature painting 101 has been my gift, my work, and that, because I've made already like 130 miniature painting 101s. So that's really where I think a lot of people get a lot of help from my free content. CM Yuli says, on today's Q&J, drop pods become troop choices. Hi Jay, unfortunately GW has shattered my dreams of starting Tomb Kings since almost every model has been removed from their site. Do you think this is because of their modeling or reboxing? That's my guess. That is my guess. I don't think they're going to remove an entire army. I'm guessing they're going to rebox it is my personal guess. Also, I'm starting a second guard army, this time using Catachans. How should I start and with what, and will guard get any love soon? Yes. Guard should be a new codex because it, let me just type in quickly. I'm pretty sure there's a Catachan starting set. If so, I just recommend getting it for starting. But Astra Militarum should be getting some love soon because they are an older codex, right? There's not that many sixth or earlier codices left. We have Astra Militarum, Tyranids, Adeptus Sororitas, Chaos Space Marines, which really need it the most. Yes. Get started now. Start collecting 40k. I think there's a get. No. I just recommend picking up some Catachans. As the models are. That's it, and start going from there. Obviously start with the core of your army, the troops, and an HQ, and then work from there. Definitely want to get some vehicles, because Astra Militarum, their tanks are hilariously fun. So that's what I recommend. Bertozzi Motorsports is funny. I had the day off work and sat down to paint. Been bummed you haven't had many videos lately, but it's totally okay because you mentioned me. That's true, and I did mention you again. I'm trying to paint 1,850 points for this Can Hammer event, and this helps. Enjoy your day. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And unfortunately, I can't make it to Can Hammer because I'm heading to Chicago next week. So I just had a certain number of days off. But yeah, more videos will be coming. Slowly, they'll be going up again. In fact, this full week, I think there'll be 4 or 5. So that'll be good. That'll be good. They're going to slowly come up again. Next week is I'm going to be busy, but like the one after, like week from tomorrow. But it'll be okay. I'm going to keep making videos as much as I can and as much content as much as I can. So. Bob Smith says, thanks for your orky answer. It was true for competitive, but not orky. So, should orcs get drop pods? Looted drop pods that malfunction on a roll of 1. That'd be amazing. I think orcs should have drop pods. And they can scatter and hit their own guys or hit somebody else. You can't intentionally place them so that they hit their own guys, but if they scatter and land on their own dudes or your guys, that should be allowed. Because that's very orky, it's very random, and it's fun. That'd be hilariously fun. Orc drop pods. George Graham says, hi Jay, what do you think will be axed from the fantasy range next? And do you think the 40k will be a reduction from some ranges, and if so, what? I don't think it'll be a reduction from some ranges. I hope not, other than maybe Sisters getting removed. What we get axed next from 40 fantasy, I don't know. Actually, that's the thing. I really don't. I don't know. Fantasy, I don't keep up with the most for Age of Sigmar, but I do think Tomb Kings will come back in some way or shape or form. I'm very surprised that they're removing an entire army. That doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't make much sense. But hopefully, it's just a temporary thing, and they bring back the army. Eric's Coin says, "Hi Jay. I've been a pure fantasy Warhammer player, but since 8th is dying, I've got myself in the Necron starter set. Excellent. Great way to start an army. Not because I looked for OP armies, but I liked Undead. I followed your How to Play 40k series, and it's awesome. Thanks so much for making that. Fan from Norway, Eric." Thank you very much, Eric's Coins. I really appreciate that. I'm glad I have fans in Norway. I'll be eventually making my goal is to maybe get, I would really love to get the How to Play 40k Assault this week. We'll see. I'm trying my best. I'm working my butt off. Red Versa. If you had to pick only two sides of a die, and those two sides were the only sides you and your opponent ever rolled, what would they be and why? 1 and 6. Yeah. Only extremes. That's where the fun would be. 1 and 6. Because 6s and 1s are where all the hilarity happens. Typically, on a 6, something happens in 40k, and on a 1, something misses, you know? So 1s and 6s would be fun. It'd be, like, pretty fun, you know? So, like, a Termagant can hurt anything on, because it'll be a 6 50% of the time, and then 1, so leadership tests will be either, you know, it'd be amazing, because leadership tests would either be stupidly awesome or fail. Or combination, because they won't, you know, if you had 2 die and you rolled them 50% chance of a 7, which is statistical, 25% chance of a 12, and 25% chance of a 2. I like that. Thank you very much for your question, Red Versa. Next question. Diabolic Inferno, Grey Knights need more AP2. That's true. We have a lot of AP3 due to the Force weapons. That's actually when they got kind of nerfed in 6th edition, was that Grey Knights when Force weapons became AP3, it was a little hard. But we still have Thunder Hammers. You know, that's pretty good. Force Hammers, I mean. We still have Monster Creatures. We have Drago. I agree, and they do have some rending on their, you know, on their side cannons. But I agree, a little more AP2 wouldn't hurt. Orcs, more love from GW. I agree. They just got some love. So there's the Goskal Thraka supplement recently, and that's an interesting book. Really expensive formations, I find. But, yeah. And thanks. I'm in the warp. Excellent. Glad you're in the warp, Diabolic. Mark Keller says, "I would like to see the Emperor die." That's why I said 2. It would really push forward the story. In theory, wouldn't he be released into the warp? Could be. Would love to see more warp-themed battles and fluff. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. If they moved the story forward to him dying, I think all the Empire would be really rattled. And it would be cool to see where the Empire heads in that direction, and how the Orcs and the Dark Eldar and the Eldar and all the non-Imperial, all the non-Imperial factions, seeing how they respond to the Emperor dying would be really cool. And warp-themed battles, amazing. I very much agree. Isaac Evans says, "If you don't mind me asking, what airbrush do you use?" I use 2 airbrushes, typically. I use a Badger Patriot 105 for most of my general airbrushing, and my fine detail is typically a Sotar 2020. I used to use a Chrome, but I prefer the Sotar. I like the lightweight to it. It's a sleek, sexy airbrush. As far as compressor goes, I use the TC910 from Badger. It has a tank. It's the only difference between the TC909 and the TC910 is the tank. I've been looking for a kit and have not been able to find one that comes with a compressor. It didn't come with a compressor, but if you ever are at a convention, find the Badger booth at big conventions like Adepticon, Gen Con, because they sell everything in one, and it's an amazing price, unbeatable, for sure. Or check out weberbrushes.com. I think they occasionally have packages as well. Next is Pablo Martinez. Pablo, how's it going? I haven't seen Pablo since last year's LVO. "Hey Jay, are you going to Adepticon?" "I'm thinking about going." Yes, I am going. It's going to be tons of fun. I'm excited. I'm going to do a Imperial Knight battle and hopefully film a couple battle reports and just have a good time. I don't know if I'll be bringing War Machine. I probably will bring a little bit. But this year I think I'll be doing a little more painting and a little bit more 40K, as long as there's open gaming. Last year there was, thanks to the really awesome people at Cracked Earth Studios. The previous year there wasn't any. So we'll see. But I'm definitely going to Adepticon. And Pablo, if you go, I'll see you there. It's going to be tons of fun. Oh, Pablo. Black Tom. Black Tom, how's it going? I saw Black Tom last year at Adepticon. Hey, Jay. So I have a somewhat serious question, especially since GW has almost finished reprinting all the codices to 7th Ed. I think Guard and Chaos Marines are all that's left. Tyranids as well, and Adeptus Sororitas. Personally, I'm not sure the psychic phase of GW has printed is really successful. The rules for it have really hurt those armies with limited psychers and no psychers. True, but they were always kind of hurt. I do feel, Black Tom. I do understand your point very much, but I do find that most of the armies that didn't have psychers, like Necrons, Adeptus Sororitas, Tau, have always been really susceptible to the psychic phase. Dark Eldar. It feels like an all or nothing situation, which I think is a bad thing. If GW changes the psychic phase to something better, do you think they will be forced to release a new edition? Yes. I do think that. If they ever change it, the psychic phase was one of the huge additions. So if they remove it, I would be very shocked. And if they do, it would be a new edition. For sure, a new edition. I say that because the short release between 6th and 7th felt in large part due to the change in the psychic phase. Exactly. So that's the thing. If I'm looking forward to seeing you at Adepticon. Very much looking forward to seeing you, Black Tom. And I hope we can sit down. We just sit down somewhere and chew the fat, if you have the time. Take care. Oh yeah, I should have the time. I'm doing a couple things, but nothing too crazy this year. I'd love to sit down with you. We should have like lunch or something. It'd be fun, for sure. But yeah, I do feel that the psychic phase being removed would be an 8th edition. That would be a definite change that would warrant a new edition. Roto Fury says, "Hey Jay, I was hoping for your thoughts on something. I recently got a number of War Machine models, and I really want to paint them up good. However, I am still deciding paints. Okay. The coloring, I think I have down. The question is, do you think mixing paint brands is okay? Absolutely. 100% absolutely. It makes your models distinct. I use a combination of paints. I have some Vallejo. I typically use a combination of Reaper, GW, and P3. And Minotaur for airbrushing. Absolutely. Mostly I like GW layers and glazes a lot. However, I'm thinking of getting either Formula P3 or Reaper. I love both of them. Both of them are great. I want to mix up these because I'd rather get some colors the one or another may not have, and again, ease. Yeah, exactly. Or in the case of Reaper, to avoid the thin metallic you brought in your video. Yeah. Very much. I 100% recommend. Mixing up paints is great. It never hurts you to bring in more companies, because if you find the best paints from each brand, you're working with the best paints from each brand, and it'll be really nice. No paint brand is perfect, and by mixing your paints, you can fill in the gaps in your paint brands. For sure. Mikey Vengeance. I kept saying Venges, and then he corrected me in his comment. He says, did I type vanish? I think you did, instead of varnish. Yeah, you did. My silly autocorrect. P.S. The last part of my name is pronounced like the word vengeance. Like a Z. Noise instead of C noise. Thanks for the advice on varnish. Yeah, no problem. Thank you very much, Mikey Vengeance. And see you at Adepticon as well. We have a match ahead of us. DZ Saber says, Jay, I just wanted to let you know that many of my videos are up, and a lot are more going up in the next several months. Check them out. Got some orc stuff that you might like. Hope all is working out for you. Thank you very much, DZ Saber, or DZ Saber, depending on if you're Canadian. I'll definitely go check you out for sure. I'll click on your link after this video and go see some of your videos. But for sure. So that's all the comments for the day. It's a pretty short Q&J. But leave more comments and questions in the comment section down below, everyone, and I'll do my best to make sure I answer them as soon as possible. It'll probably be the week after next, I'm guessing, but it's all good. So thank you so much, everyone, for your comments and your questions and every part about this. I really enjoyed making another Q&J. Stay tuned for more videos. Until next time, this is Jay saying thank you very much for supporting me, and happy painting.